Every nation needs its own collection of folk tales, and this is the fullest and most authoritative we have. To open it anywhere is to sink a shaft into the memory of a people and all that they know. In 1971, after many years spent diligently compiling and collecting traditional tales, the folklorist Katharine M. Briggs published a dictionary of folk tales in the English language. It was her life's work and a landmark publication, the greatest and most complete collection of British folk stories. Katharine Briggs recorded local yarns and historical legends, fairy tales and shaggy dog stories originating in every corner of Britain from Cornwall to the Scottish Highlands. There are nursery tales, the story of Mr. Corms the fox, for example, fairy tales like the story of Tattercoats, bawdy tales and jokes like the story of the mouse in the ale cask. Many are familiar, such as the tale of the three bears. Others are less well known, like the story of the miser and the fairies of the Gump. And some tales are linked to the devil, or Old Bogey, as he is known in some parts. The man who wouldn't go out at night. There was a farmer, a great upstanding chap, and he wouldn't go out after dark, not for anything. It was not so bad in the summer, but when All Hallows was come and gone, things grew terribly awkward. There might be stock to feed, or cows to milk, and lambs to help into this world. But he wouldn't put a foot outside the door after sunset, not if you begged him on your bended knees. What was worse, his wife was expecting a child, and she asked him flat out if he'd fetch the doctor if her pains came on her at night, and he had to admit that he wouldn't. She knew there must be something far amiss there, because he fairly doted on her. So she begged and prayed him to tell her what was the matter, and at last it came out. It seemed, when he was a foolish youngster, that he had sold his soul to the devil. Old Bogey, he called him, for prosperity on the farm. And now the time had come to pay. Old Bogey was hanging round the farm to snap him up if he set foot over the threshold after dark. The door was well guarded with horseshoes and a piece of mountain ash, but once beyond them, and the farmer was a lost soul. Many of the stories take great delight in poking fun at fools. Britain contains many places supposed to be inhabited by simpletons. The town of Gotham in Northamptonshire was considered especially foolish, and there is a rich collection of tales about the wise men of Gotham. The wise men of Gotham. On a certain time, there were 12 men of Gotham who went fishing, and some went into the water, and some on dry ground. And as they were coming back, one of them said, "We have ventured much this day wading. I pray God that none of us that did come from home be drowned." "Marry," said one, "well, let us see about that. 12 of us came out." And every man did count 11. And the 12th man did never count himself. "Alas," said one to the other, "one of us is drowned." This new Folio Society edition has been illustrated by 3 different artists. Volume 1 by Hannah Furman, Volume 2 by Peter Furman, and Volume 3 by Claire Malinsky. Peter Furman is well known as a printmaker, illustrator and animator, and as the co-creator of the classic children's television series Bagpuss. This is the first time he has worked with his daughter Hannah on an illustration project. Claire Malinsky will be known to Folio members for her work on our edition of Daniel Defoe's Roxana. The new preface has been commissioned from Philip Pullman, a champion of the storytelling tradition. He celebrates the rich variety of voices represented in Briggs' work and reminds us that these tales should be a starting point for new tellings. As he puts it, they should be taken out and made to dance. There are even a few bawdy and jocular stories, like The Mouse in the Ale Cask, a personal favourite of mine. The Mouse in the Ale Cask. There once was a mouse, the nose, that happened to fall into the cask of ale, the nose. A cat, that were on the lookout for its dinner, comes up and sees a little beast swimming in tub. "Oh, see there, Mrs. Cat," says Mouse, "if thou'll get me out of this, thou can eat me. Drowned in such a wet death, and I can't abide the smell of beer." So the cat lets down a tail on the nose, and the mouse climbs up. Now the minute she's out, she runs for her hole and sits there, a-winking her whiskers and nibbling her nails. Fair dues, cries Cat. "Thou said I could eat thee." "Aye," said Mouse. "Aye," she says. "Mrs. Cat," she says, "folks'll say out when they're in liquor